news is they've run out of beef at Wendy's. I kid you not. In fact, I noticed it yesterday because even with trying to eat better, the grilled chicken sandwich at Wendy's minus the spring mix, because I don't like that spring mix. That's too healthy. 7 points on my plan. They had signs everywhere. Sorry, we're out of beef. I thought, boy, that seems odd. Well, it's a thing. From Bloomberg comes this story as I walk into the studios today with meat shortages roiling the U.S. A number of Wendy's restaurants have taken burgers off the menu. Customers have taken to Twitter to complain they can't order burgers from the restaurant, which of course touts its beef as fresh and never frozen. North America's meat supply chain has fallen apart, according to Bloomberg, as outbreaks have shuttered slaughterhouses, heightening the prospect that pork, beef, and chicken may go missing from grocery shelves and restaurant menus. I don't mean to create a run on anything, but next time you're at the grocery store, you might want to stock up because literally, Wendy's is running out of beef. I couldn't believe it. I was at the drive-thru last night and big paper signs all over the menu. Sorry, we're out of beef. I mean, can you imagine going to a burger place and they don't have beef for the burgers? And there was still a line. I thought, what are you people in line for? Is everybody going to do grilled chicken sandwiches? Now, there's also very serious news as the Senate goes back to work this week. And interestingly, the big debate again is about masks. Most of the senators who have returned, the House, of course, Nancy Pelosi isn't letting the House go back to work. She's digging her heels in, but the Senate back to work. And most of the senators, Republican and Democrat, wearing masks. But the mask, of course, is becoming a bit of a contentious symbol in and of itself. And yet, here comes this new story showing and revealed just a few moments ago that the models, most of which have been wrong, and I want to couch this because the models and the media's breathless reporting of the models all have to be sort of taken into account as you make decisions about how life looks going forward. You see, ultimately, you're going to get to make that decision. I'm convinced of that. And this is a very volatile time in world history and certainly in American history. But the battle right now is between whether Americans get to decide what this looks like going forward, or are we beholden to the government officials who are going to tell us we have to obey? And listen, it's a delicate balance for all of us. And it's a very difficult balance. Because of course we have seatbelt laws, we have speed limit laws, we have traffic laws, we've got civil and criminal, penalties for doing things wrong. You can't break the law. But now, of course, you have a very real mindset emerging that the government must tell us all what to do. If not, we're all going to die. And indeed, there's a report now, a CDC document that the New York Times obtained that paints a very, very bleak, scary picture about what we're going to see in America over the next month. According to this internal document from the New York Times that they got their hands on from the CDC, the number of daily new cases of COVID-19 is projected to increase from 25,000 per day to 200,000 per day in June. And in the same time frame, the number of daily deaths is expected to increase from 1,750 to 3,000. Now, the Washington Post says the CDC has disavowed the report. And frankly, honest to gosh, I've never thought I'd say this in 4 decades of being a broadcaster. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. And I know that I'm speaking for millions of Americans. We don't know what models to believe. We don't know who to trust. I mean, but at the end of the day, we have to come to an acceptance that there are politicians and there are people in positions of prominence in our country, including the presumed Democrat nominee for president, who does not want to miss the opportunity to take advantage of this crisis to achieve greater goals. I give you Joe Biden. I give you Joe Biden. Oh, I just saw that
if we do this right, we have an incredible opportunity to not just dig out of this crisis, but to fundamentally transform the country.
If we do this right, we can fundamentally transform America. Do you remember back in the day when Barack Obama talked about transforming the country? They're back on it again. They're back to it again. They want to take coronavirus and use it to transform the country. They want to, and listen, again, I say this not wanting to minimize the risk, the anxiety, the health concerns of this country and this planet. This is a terrible virus, and you've never heard me say otherwise. I'm not pretending that it's just like the cold or the flu. I'm not pretending that it's normal. I'm not pretending that I certainly don't want anybody at risk. I don't want anybody to be sick. I don't want anybody to die. That goes without saying. But I'm going back to my point that we need to keep the goal of many leading political figures like Joe Biden on our radar. I haven't heard a Republican say that, but I doubt it, but who knows? And B, ultimately, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to be the ones to decide how we go forward. We're going to be the ones that decide whether you take a risk. There's a Washington Post poll out that says 78% of Americans are uncomfortable going to any restaurant right now. Well, you know what? Then don't. Then stay home. If you, and I mean that, I'm not saying that to be a jerk. You got to stay home then. If you're vulnerable, if you're nervous about it, if you don't want to be around people, don't go to the store, don't go to a restaurant, stay home. And then my follow-up will be, how long do you think you'll have to be in your home? Tough questions. We're struggling for answers, but I'm glad you're with us in the ReliefFactor.com studios. Back at work again. We're back in our home base, and I am, well, I feel liberated. It feels good to go back to work, actually, even though it's kind of a skeleton staff here in our studios. But we're here. We're back in the studios, ready to take your calls. 1-800-655-MIKE. 800-655-6453. Press 1 to come on air with us. Press 2 to leave a voicemail message. You can always text us your comments to the MyPillow text line like somebody just did. Hey, Mike, quit being a pansy. This is America. It's our right to choose. Stop being stupid. Okay, well, interestingly, that's kind of what I just said. Maybe there's a distortion on your speaker and you're not hearing me. Wow. 800-655-MIKE, another happy customer here on the Mike Gallagher Show.